All right, Coach, we're a few weeks out of the baseball season. With those few weeks, let's talk about the season and kind of recap it for a minute now that we've had some time to think about it.
Well, the first thing is we're in a great league now, with Conference USA and our coaching staff and players at the end of the season with our end of the year meetings. As a staff, we realize what the competition level is going to be now, moving forward. We had, I think, 34 players out of the league that were drafted. Had several really, really high draft picks. We had two guys drafted with Ryan Butler, going in the 7th round, and Brock Hudgens going in the 31st round. So we were part of that mix. It's, again, a lot of really good players, a lot of players that you're going to see from Conference USA. They're going to play in the big leagues probably pretty quickly with some of them, and that's all good. Conference USA also had 9 teams in the top 100 of the RPI. Which was the second most. The SEC had the most teams in the top 100 of the RPI. We were second most, and 2 of those teams in the top 40 RPI, and then we had a bunch of schools. Obviously, 7 other schools are in that 50 to 90, 95 range in the RPI, and I think as a league we're going to try to figure out a way to get a few more in that top 40, top 50. But I think that's going to happen as the league continues to evolve and continues to grow. But anytime you put 9 of your schools in the top 100 of the RPI, that's really, really big time competition. A lot of good wins, a lot of positive things, a lot of good things moving forward with the league. And just really, really impressed the level of competition, the level of coaching, and we've got to figure out a way to get in that mix of the top 8 for the conference tournament, and hopefully as we move forward, get in that upper echelon. Because if we do, in a great league, then we got a chance to do some good things in the NCAA tournament. So those are all still goals for us. Again, I think we know exactly what's in front of us now. We're going to continue to play a really aggressive non-conference schedule in addition to our conference schedule that we have. And just really looking forward to getting the kids back here in the fall and getting going and moving forward with the 2015 season.
As if Conference USA isn't tough enough, you look at our non-conference schedule from this past year. League champs are all over it. Canisius, Creighton, Evansville, Kyle Freeland drafted in the top 10.
Yeah, who made out that schedule? but it's all right, and we tell us, our kids when we're recruiting them, you're going to play against a high level of competition. We haven't released the schedule for next year, but we've got Georgia on the schedule next year. We got Dallas Baptist on the schedule next year. Those are 2 of our weekends that we've got to be able to play. We've got NC State back on the schedule. We've got, really, really positive things moving forward. And, again, when you play in a great league like we are, you've got to prepare for league play. And that 10 games or 10 weekends and playing 30 games in conference play it's a challenge, and we got to try to do some things with our non-conference schedule to be ready for our conference play.
Looking at our schedule, regional teams are in there, super regional teams are in there. Rice and ODU got into the regional. ODU had Maryland beat the first day. The schedule is, does that help people realize what kind of a schedule we really are playing?
I think it's still evolving. I think there's still people, even in the Charlotte area, and even some of our boosters and a lot of 49er fans that don't know all the teams that are in Conference USA. It's still... And I understand some of that with different teams changing leagues, and that's still, this year there's still going to be schools that are going to be changing and moving to different leagues. But I think as time goes on, I think once we start playing a Conference USA football schedule, I think it's really going to help with people recognizing who's in the league and what a great league it is. And we've got to do some things, with our program to make people more aware of who's in the league as well. Whether it be in the Charlotte area with our recruiting base and with our high school coaches and with our travel ball coaches that we're dealing with in recruiting. So I think it's all going to continue to move forward. I think it's all going to be positive moving forward. And hopefully they don't start changing things around with the leagues anymore, because I think we're to a point now where it's getting relatively stable, and I think people can recognize the great competition that we're playing.
Talk about conference tournament for a couple of minutes. A championship, UTSA and Rice. UTSA, who we took 2 of 3 from in San Antonio, had Rice on the ropes late, and that's just another example of the Conference USA balance with
Well,
everyone.
And we got better as the year went on. We won 6 of our last 7 road games. We did a lot of good things. We didn't play as well at home as what we need to moving forward, and that's again something that we're going to have to address with trying to get Niner Nation to get out here and really support us on the weekends. We've gone to other places and played, and we got a great fan base. The atmosphere in some of the other places we played at is big time. The people come out and support the programs that are in this league, and we're going to have to get the Hayes back into being a better home field advantage for us. The weather was awful this year. There's a lot of things that kind of played against that. We did not play very well early in the season, but there's some things we're going to have to do to improve our level of play on the field. Number one, there's some things we're going to have to do to create an atmosphere that is comparable to other Conference USA schools that we're going to. So, just again, really excited about moving forward in the league and trying to do whatever we can do to get to that midpoint, that top 8, and then progressively get better from there.
Does the second half finish keep you from going back to the first half and saying, what if, or, do something differently?
Well, we made a conscious decision to play a lot of young guys.
Right.
And, that's good if they get better. It's not good if they don't get better. And we've got some holes we got to fill this year. We've got to continue to work on our roster and continue to work on getting as many Conference USA level players in our program as possible. That's an ongoing deal. Just educating people about the league, educating people about our non-conference schedule. So I'm excited. I mean, I really am, because we made progress. We got better as the year went on. We're still not as good as we need to be. We still got a long ways to go in terms of competing with the upper echelon programs, but we've done a lot of good things. We were competitive, from the midpoint to the end of the season, and the margin for error is really thin, as you know from traveling around with us. The margin for error is really, with, like you mentioned earlier, with UTSA getting all the way to the championship, against Rice, and just the margin for error is really thin.
Talk about Ryan and Brock being drafted. What do guys who hope to be drafted in the years to come, what can they take from those two?
Well, Coach Hall does a great job with our pitching staff, and that's been a constant for us for 13 or so years now, with Brandon being here and working. He works his tail off, does a good job developing our guys that we have in the program. I think that it just continues the tradition that we've had here in terms of guys getting a chance to play at the next level. And I think it's going to continue to get better as time goes on, with guys coming in here. And if you perform in Conference USA, you're going to be rewarded for it. And Brock's a prime example. He got drafted late, but he got an opportunity to play. He's an undersized right-handed pitcher. He's got a good arm, but he performed against Conference USA level competition. When you do that, you're going to get opportunities like he got in the late rounds, and that's going to continue as time moves forward. We've got to recruit guys that have ability. That's you can't cheat the system in this league. You got to have guys that have ability from a position player standpoint and also a pitching standpoint. And then if we continue to do a decent job developing those guys and coaching those guys, then we're going to get where we need to be.
We'll throw a different question out here while we're talking about Ryan and Brock. They both went to National League teams. 3-4 years, what's their hitting capabilities going to be like? They have to step it.
Not very good. They'll both. I talked to Brock last night, and I was texting back and forth with Butler, but it's not very good. So, Maine. When John got drafted in Maine several years ago, he was drafted by the Orioles, and that was one of the first things he said. I had to go to an American League team where I can't hit, and then he ended up, pitching all those years with the Mets, and I think he had one career home run. But all the pitchers think they can hit, and some of the position players think they can pitch too. So it's kind of a funny situation.
Give us an update, if you can, on summer ball and how some of our guys are doing. We got a lot of guys scattered throughout the country trying to get better.
Guys have gotten off to good starts. Sheer and Michael Hill are playing up in the Northwoods League, and TJ's playing up there around his hometown in Ohio, and several guys. Dez is playing in the Coastal Plains League, and we got Elwood and Rayleigh playing up in Northern Virginia area. Patrick King and some other guys are playing around here locally, and got guys kind of scattered all over the place. So, the point is for them to get out and get at bats. The point for them is to get out and get reps defensively. We're really careful with our pitchers, and we've kind of adjusted our philosophy over the years to to be really careful with the guys that have thrown a significant number of innings, or maybe have had some arm issues in high school or whatever, to be really careful and cautious with them in summer baseball. But the point is for them to get better. We've got some incoming guys, freshmen and junior college guys that are playing Legion ball or playing on, in summer league situations that are doing well. So we're still recruiting, still trying to find another guy or two. Recruiting for 2015 class guys and even 2016 class guys are moving forward really, really fast. There's a lot of schools that are working hard in the recruiting process, and we got to try to do everything we can to keep up with it.
Well, now that 2014 is behind us, you mentioned recruiting. What else can we look forward to in the future with the fall and then the spring rolling around?
We're going to play the team out of Canada again this fall, like we did last fall. I think that's going to be another positive day for our players. We've got at least one alumni event that we've got scheduled, and maybe do a couple. One maybe around the homecoming football weekend in October, and we'll be sending out information via the internet and to our alums about those events in the fall, and just trying to get things taken care of on the field with practice. That fall is a huge time for development. It's a huge time for getting guys stronger in the weight room. And it's a huge time for us to continue to make up ground and again try to get in that top 8 for the Conference USA. If you're a definite regional caliber team, and then eventually getting in that upper echelon, which we have before. We did, back in the late 90s and right around in the 2000 era, we were able to compete in that top 4 or 5 in Conference USA, and that affords you opportunities to really compete against the best in college baseball.